During the reign of the Hung kings, there was an old woman who lived alone and had no children. One morning while she was visiting her field, she suddenly saw a giant footprint that had crushed several rows of eggplants. She exclaimed, "Oh my, whose foot is this big?" Curious, she placed her own foot into the footprint and suddenly felt a strange shiver run through her body. After that, she became pregnant. When the time came, she gave birth to a chubby baby boy and named him Gióng. However, even when the boy turned 3 years old, he still lay on his back all day, unable to sit, crawl, speak, or smile. At that time, the An invaders came to plunder the country. They were cruel and destructive, led by a general named An Vuong. Everywhere they went, they burned houses, broke doors, killed people, and stole possessions. The Hung king led many battles against them, but could not defeat them. Worried, the king sent messengers across the land to find a talented general to save the country. One day, the king's envoy came to Giong's village. Hearing the call from the king looking for someone to fight off the invaders, Giong's mother, while rocking her child, jokingly said, "My son, you're so slow to walk and talk. How will you ever fight to protect the country?" Unexpectedly, Gióng looked at his mother and spoke clearly for the first time. "Mother, please call the king's envoy here for me." Then he went silent again. His mother, both overjoyed and frightened, ran to tell the neighbors. Everyone found it unbelievable. Finally, someone suggested, "Let's call the envoy and see what he wants." When the king's envoy entered the house and saw Gióng, he said, "You're just a 3-year-old who's only just started talking. Why did you summon me?" Gióng calmly replied, "Go tell the king to forge me an iron horse, an iron sword, an iron suit of armor, and an iron helmet. I will drive out the enemy and protect the land." Everyone was astonished, thinking a divine being had appeared. The envoy quickly returned to inform the king. Hearing the news, King Hung was overjoyed and ordered blacksmiths to gather all available iron to forge the items Gióng requested. When finished, they were unimaginably heavy. Dozens of people couldn't lift the sword. Thousands of soldiers were needed to transport them to Gióng. When Giong's mother heard that the soldiers were bringing the iron horse to the village, she ran home, frightened, and said, "My child, this is no game. The king's soldiers are already outside with that horse. What do we do now?" Gióng stood up immediately and said, "Don't worry, mother. I will fight the invaders. But you must feed me. Feed me a lot." His mother hurriedly cooked rice, but each pot she made, Gióng ate it all in a blink. With each meal, he grew larger and stronger and demanded more food. The more he ate, the more he grew. Soon he had become a towering young man. Out of rice, his mother called on the villagers, who eagerly brought rice, sweet potatoes, buffalo, wine, fruits, and cakes, filling the entire yard. But Gióng devoured everything and still asked for more. Then Gióng said, "Mother, I need clothes." The people brought silk to sew clothes for Gióng, but he grew so rapidly that every new set was immediately too tight. They kept sewing and adding fabric, but soon his head reached the roof of the house. Just then, the soldiers arrived with the iron horse, sword, armor, and helmet. Gióng stepped outside, stretched his body, and in an instant became a giant, with legs longer than a fathom. He roared like thunder, "I am a heavenly general." Then he put on the armor, helmet, and wielded the sword. He said farewell to his mother and villagers and leapt onto the iron horse. The horse suddenly rose up and breathed out blazing fire. Gióng urged the horse forward. It flew like the wind, each stride covering many yards. In the blink of an eye, he reached the enemy's stronghold deep within the forest. His sword flashed like lightning as he slashed down the enemy soldiers. Wherever the horse breathed fire, enemy camps and entire forests were consumed in flames. General An Vuong still shouted orders to resist, but Gióng only fought harder. Enemy bodies piled up everywhere. Suddenly, Giong's sword broke. Without hesitation, he uprooted clumps of bamboo along the road and used them to strike down the remaining enemy troops. Soon the invaders scattered in fear, running in all directions. An Vuong was killed and torn apart. The remaining enemies surrendered and begged for mercy. King Hung's army and the villagers easily captured and bound them. By noon, the country was free of invaders. By then, Giong's horse had reached the foot of Saksan Mountain. There, Gióng removed his armor and helmet, and then, along with his horse, ascended into the sky. After the victory, to honor the hero, King Hung had a temple built in his hometown and gave him the title of Pu Zhong Tien Vuong, the heavenly king of Pishu.